Hey, welcome back to the episode of Instagram Podcast. I'm your host, Juan. As always, my co-host here with me. Hey, Trip.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good, man. I just got off of work, had a chill-ass day because nothing happens anymore. I mean, a bunch of shit was happening, but none of it was like
important.
My whole day kind of shit. It was just like, whatever is happening,
it's just happening. Like end of the day shit.
Yeah. I mean, not really end of the day, but, throughout the whole course of the day.
Yeah, well, I'm super sleepy. I'm tired. School's got me fucking working double time.
I know, man.
I fell asleep at 1. I had to wake up at 7 to shower to go to school at 8. I got out at 5, and then I was like, okay, I got an hour to meet you to do the episode or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm hungry, so I went and got sushi, and then I watched the last 2 episodes of what we're reviewing this week.
Yeah, which is
Neo Yokio, which is a new Netflix show. It's interesting. We'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, so I did all of that and then I had a beer. I think what fucked me up is I had a beer before I started eating. So
so you got like a little bit fucking tipsy. Yeah, and you're just like, all right, give me some food now.
Yeah. So
your body hasn't caught up yet. It's still trying to figure out.
I'm feeling better, but like,
well, right. But I mean, you still feel like that heaviness and whatnot.
Yeah, dude. I'm so stoked for just like finishing this and like going home and then sleeping for an hour and then waking up and then doing homework and then sleeping again.
Damn. After this, I'm doing some chores, man.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. Big
Do you get
deal.
paid for those chores?
No, I don't. But it's fine. It's also that I can make stew tomorrow.
Ooh, what kind of stew?
Regular.
I don't know what regular stew is. I'm Mexican.
It's got meat. It's got vegetables.
What kind of meat?
It's got some beef.
Okay,
it's
beef.
like always beef.
Okay.
Stew is beef boy. And you throw in some onions, some carrots, some celery, some potatoes. It's like mostly meat and potatoes. Mm-hmm. That's the whole deal.
I love meat and potatoes.
And then everybody that I've talked to is like, stew is just like meat, potatoes, and water. And I'm like, okay. Because to me, it's like, that? Not really. Like
meat, potato, and soda or something?
No, I like a thicker kind of like, not like chili.
Consistency.
Yeah. Not like chili, how thick that is, but like, you have the big old pieces
like chowder?
Potato. Yeah, not like chowder either. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's not like a watery. It's more like a gazpacho. No, it's not like a gazpacho either.
I'm trying to think of things that are thick but aren't like super thick.
So like it's not like water. It's not like a fucking soupy.
It's not a soup, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a soupy situation. But it's more thick than that, so you can still dip your bread in it and whatnot.
But not as thick as chowder.
Yes. I don't know. Anyways.
Whatever, fuck it. So you're making stew.
So I'm making stew, and it's going to be fucking delicious. But yeah, Leandra and Josh are like, it's like water. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, this is like, I thicken it. I use flour.
Oh, you thicken it with flour?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nifty trick. People do that with like gravy also.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's got a gravy consistency. We did it, dude.
It's gravy.
Look at you.
Oh, nice, cool. So you just like feeling like you wanted some stew in your life?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw something on the internet, and I was like, fuck. And then I decided to make my own.
Do you just do it like overnight or like several
I'm going to
hours?
go prep everything tonight, like cut it up and whatnot, and it's supposed to take 12 hours to cook.
Whoa.
But fuck that noise, so I'm cutting that shit in half and cooking it on high.
You're like, this shit's 12 hours on low. That means 6 hours on hot. Super hot. That's
pretty much. No, I looked at it and I was like, can I make it less time? And everyone that reviewed the recipe or whatever that I have is just like, yeah, it's good either way. I'm like, all right, thanks, faceless person on the internet, because I'm not waking up at 6 and hitting a button. Fuck that.
That's not what I'm about.
No way.
So, dope. I mean,
yeah. So that's
how much stew you making?
A decent amount. I don't know how much.
I want some stew.
Like, dude, you want to come over to my place for stew tomorrow night?
What's tomorrow? Tuesday?
Yeah, Stew's Day, actually.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, I can do that.
I gotta rearrange. I don't need to go to that class.
No, tomorrow's like, I got class tomorrow at noon. I'm out at 2. That's it. Yeah.
I really got fucking thing.
I was making sure like I didn't like have any other plans. That's man. I'd be down to have some stew.
Nah, dude, come over, get some stew, cool. And then we'll talk about what we're gonna do when we do that.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, besides that, hey, what's good, Trip?
Dude, I mean, I've just been hanging out. My roommate convinced me to get Destiny 2, which is the game made by the people who made Halo, and then they made Destiny 1.
But that's only for PlayStation, right?
I think it's also, I don't know for sure, but I think it might be for Xbox One. Don't quote me on that, but you could quote me on that.
But I think it was at one point.
Yeah, it's on PS4, and then it's also on PC. Mm-hmm. So we're playing on PlayStation because they wanted a console setting or whatever, and I'm cool with that because I don't get to play it because I have a Mac. and Macs are for bitches.
Well, no, actually, I had this conversation at school the other day because I'm in the animation department, right?
Yeah.
And so I meet a lot of people who are in game development. So we co-mingle or whatever, and the topic of computers came up. Yeah. And people were like, yeah, this, that. And from what I gathered, there's a lot of yelling. And one word, something that kept coming up was... it was PC Master Race, which I had no idea what that meant.
All right, so do you know now?
No, it was explained to me later. But at first I was like, what are they talking about? Like,
PC Master Race sounds pretty offensive.
It almost sounded like they were like, dude, they're about to do some genocide shit. Like,
it's not going to be
fucking
cool.
Send people to camps or whatever. It sounded really bad.
That's kind of the point of it. Like, that's how it started. It started satirical like that, where like, everyone but PC users go die.
Yeah.
But then it changed later on to be more satirical, where it's just like, you know what, we really like PCs and we like that you can do stuff with them opposed to a Mac, which is just like a box that's already made for you.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference. They like the customizability and whatnot. But being in the animation department, the same thing for me. You know, I was in film.
Yeah.
And
there
was some ghost shit
pillow,
that just happened.
A pillow just moved or whatever. Trip scared.
Do I have telekinetic powers? Because I was moving my hand around.
Speaking of telekinetic powers, that comes up in the episode of Rick and Morty.
Oh shit!
I can't lie. Gotta watch it.
So yeah. Anyways, people would always give me shit when I was trying to like play games with people or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, let's do this." I'm like, "I have a Mac though. I can't do it." And they're like, "Why the fuck do you have a Mac?" And it's like, "Okay, well, in the film industry, everybody uses Macintosh computers, and I don't know how it is for art." But I think that there's probably a pretty good divide between like half and half at least.
From what I've seen is like I have heard that a lot of people, I mean, Adobe Premiere seems to be like the blanket for editing.
Yeah, it didn't used to be, which is so weird.
Yeah, it was Avid. Cut. No, it was Avid before that.
It was Avid and then Final Cut and then Premiere.
But it looks like it's coming back around to being Final Cut again.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it looks like there's a turn in the system. It looks like it's changing. But so in animation it's for game development, for sure, people want a PC.
Yeah.
And that's because, more or less, they want to also be able to play every game and be super fast and super...
Exactly. And you could learn from other games, too, if you're in game development.
I mean, but for Mac, I mean, for animation, I mean, it doesn't really matter which way. Because at school, use a PC. At home, use a Mac. Just because it's kind of there. I mean, it's super convenient. The thing is, the reason I have a Mac is because it's just convenient. It's easy to use. It's literally plug and do it, you know?
Yeah, that's...
As opposed to PCs, like, I got to figure out how to do this and that and that. Which I get it. If you want all that customizable stuff, that's great. But I just kind of wanted something ready to go out of the box. Yeah. I just know this girl was super into the argument. She was just like, PC Master Race. And I was just like, I was like, you have a MacBook. Like, I've seen her use her MacBook. And she goes like, oh, you mean my Facebook computer? She only uses her MacBook for Facebook.
Why does she have it?
I don't know. That's the only thing she uses it for. She's like, this is a joke. This is all I use it for. It's essentially a tablet. Anyways, I feel like we were talking about Destiny.
Yes. Yeah. So long story short, he convinced me to get it. So I played that for like a second. And then my other friend, my buddy who's watching Arca 7 right now, he's playing it as well. Mm-hmm. So we've got like a pretty good core of friends. It's, I haven't played a shooter in a long time. My favorite ones are like, it was Unreal Tournament 2004. And then Borderlands kind of took that place. My favorite style. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it feels super accessible to anybody that I guess hasn't really had much experience with shooters, which is great because I haven't played a shooter in a long time. Yeah. But it also feels like, I don't know, not as engaging to me. But it's okay. It's fun. And the in-game content, since it's an MMO, which we just learned about recently. You remember what it stands for?
MMO is hold on, MMO. So it's multi's in there. Mm-hmm. Online is also in there.
Yes.
And it's not media. It's like it's like
massive multiplayer.
Fuck! I knew it. I had it at the tip of my tongue.
You're pretty close. Yeah. So one of the biggest things about MMOs is the end of it. You get to do this content with even more people, and it's really complicated and requires a lot of talking and whatnot. So I just hear my roommate over there being like, "Chalice, Crown, dogs," and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Then I look over his screen and there's like a giant demon that's screaming and all these things are spawning and he's just like shooting them in this dark space void. And then once he's done, he like goes back in this golden room and everyone's like jumping around doing this crazy shit, communicating with each other in specific places. I'm like, that looks like fun. I don't care about shooting, but I like whatever that is.
Oh, cool,
so
man.
I'm excited for that.
I'm glad you're enjoying that.
Yeah, also playing the new Mario plus Rabbids Battle Kingdom game, which is like XCOM, and it's very focused on movement.
Okay.
So it feels Super Mario, and it's fucking great. You just like slide into enemies, bounce off of your friends, bonk onto an enemy, and like bounce over to another place, hide behind a wall, like shoot your giant gun.
Is it turn by turn?
Yeah,
okay.
It's turn-based. It's really fun and super difficult. So playing through that with Kyle, it's a blast. I love that shit.
2-player together?
Well, it's single player, but it has a 2-player mode. So we've been doing single, and I think next time we play, we're going to try out the 2-player and see how that goes.
Because I know Kyle doesn't have a Switch.
No, yeah, this is it's like an at-home kind of thing. So
cool.
Pretty rad. I'm down with it. Sweet. What's new on your fucking side of town?
What's up with me? I finished rendering a sauce.
Yeah, you did. Let's get some sauce up in here.
Sauce. Yeah, I was super beat, and I followed the tutorial to the T, and then it was fucked up at the end, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Turns out here's the problem. So there were 3 objects. There's the lid, the actual glass container, and the inside was the sauce. My sauce was too big for my container. So it was bleeding through. So I had to shrink that bitch down. Perfect jar of sauce. You saw it.
I did see it. Fucking sexy jar, dude.
Yeah, and then I added the audio from that one guy that compares juice and sauce. When I did the snap, it was like, the juice can be anything. The sauce is forever. Like,
fucking love that.
Yeah, that guy's great. So I did that. I went to a party on Saturday with some game development guys. It was somebody's birthday.
Nice.
Everybody was like super nice, and also like super weird.
That's the fucking yeah. I've totally been there, man. When you're there with like some people that you know, and you're like, yeah, we get along just fine, and then there are all these other people, and you're like, the fuck?
I mean, everyone's super.
Everyone is nice, but you're just
polite.
like, this is so different than what I'm used to.
Yeah, I'm so used to just being ignored. I sat down. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna sit on this couch. It's finally open, and some guy's like, hey, man, what's up? I was like, hi. He goes, I'm Tom. I was like, Juan. He goes, hey, do you want to play a song or something? I was like, sure. And so like there's like a laptop there, and I was just like, I don't know. They were like watching trippy videos. Like they're like actually some videos I knew. So like
what
not
kind
trippy.
of a party is this?
Oh, well, they're game developers and the animation. So like they listen to music, and like they also like see like animations with like they like watch them together. While like drinking and playing beer pong like a normal party. I was like, yeah, sure. So I told them about a video called it's called Love and Theft. And it's like this really trippy animation where like it starts really simple, like it's really intricate, and like there's really crazy music. It's crazy visuals, super trippy.
Yeah.
And everybody's just like I suggest this, and the whole room's just quiet, just like looking at this, just like, what is this? So it's like, yeah, man, just enjoy it. It's like 6 minutes long, super fun. And then we played beer pong, and like me and a buddy of mine went 3 rounds without losing or whatever, which was great.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then the next guy came up, and he took the game way too serious, like, and it was just like, and like then my partner and him like started yelling at each other and like arguing, and at one point I was like, you know, guys, we are throwing balls into like cups of water, like,
yeah, like none of this shit matters.
I look at the other guy's partner, and I just kind of go like, like shrug, and he goes, yeah, I know. So like, I was like, so I mean,
you guys should have been on a team.
Yeah, we lost that game. It was like in my head, I was just like, oh, cool, I don't care, because this is also just a game of throwing balls into cups of water.
Yeah, people take everything so seriously.
Yeah.
The only time that it matters is when like something is on the line.
Nothing was on the line.
Like, yeah, exactly. And it's like, who gives a shit? We're just like having fun together. We're being friends.
They were arguing over like something that was so dumb. It's like this technicality. So essentially, in beer pong, an island is when a cup, when there aren't any cups touching it, you can call island, and if you make it, it's worth more points or whatever, more cups to be pulled. So the cup that he called island on wasn't technically an island because the cup that's next to it was still there. So it still had a cup next to it, but it technically wasn't touching. Like there's like a tiny itty bitty gap between it. And he's just like, that's an island. The guy's like, no, it's not. The cup's right there. And they kept yelling back and forth. And in my head, I was like, it's not an island because that cup's next to it's supposed to touch it or whatever. But the other guy's like, no, if you hit a cup enough and it budges a little bit and it doesn't touch anything else, that's an island. And then he made it after winning the argument. Then he made it, and then he got those 2 points. And then his partner also made it, which made it a 3-point. And so and I was just like, in my head, I was like, it's fine. I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, like people get way too into shit, and I'm just like, I'm always just there to have fun. And if you're not having fun, if you're taking it too seriously. maybe you'd stop playing. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just here to drink soda and do coke. That's all I'm here for. You know, that's all. And that's all I wanted to do. Anyways, man. Besides that, like anime was, I did a really intensive anime night because we missed last week, me and my girlfriend. So we just watched a bunch of stuff, caught up with everything. And I watched what I was supposed to watch for this week's assignment. I mean, this week's topic.
Yeah.
What about you for anime wise?
Yo, I've been watching Eureka 7 since I finished, or not Eureka 7, but Eureka 7 AO.
All right.
Which...
Let's specify which one it is.
It's pretty important. It's the sequel to Eureka 7, but a lot of people don't count it because it's not as good. It's a...
It comes after or before? Chronologically.
It was released after.
But chronologically, like in the story?
Dude, Eureka 7's really complicated. I don't want to get into this shit. Like, it's so big, it's so difficult to explain to you without spoilers.
I literally lost my interest. I don't care anymore.
All right, great. Anyways, so I've been watching that, and the animation and the music and like the voice acting are so strong, but the story is just
so boring,
not that fantastic. And then the characters aren't that great either. And it's like they took a lot of the things from the first series and they kept them. But then other things that are essential to all anime, they kind of forgot that they need to have really strong parts of that.
Yeah.
So
good job.
You know, it's a pretty fun show overall, though. I'm having a good time with it. It could, of course, be better, but whatever. And then I'm watching just the same stuff that I've been watching. Fuck. The latest episode of
Made in Abyss, Princess Principal. Okay.
Made in Abyss.
The ones like I don't want.
Yeah, exactly. Was like one of the darkest endings, and I'm like pretty down
every
with it.
week we just come back and it's like, dude, it got darker.
I know, yeah, and it keeps like it gets darker in different ways. Like this last one, it just kind of like came out of left field for me. In which case, like, you know, I'm expecting fucked up shit to happen to the main characters because they're going down in this like hellscape. But now, like, other characters like, hey, can you do this fucked up shit for me? And they're like, I guess I kind of have to. And that's where I'm like, oh, shit.
Nice.
And we're wrapping up the plot with Princess Principal. It, like, the last episode I watched was nice and confusing because they did this character swapping thing a whole bunch. So there are two characters that keep disguising as each other. And it's complicated and pretty fun. Cool. I'm having a great time with it. And yeah, overall, just really enjoying some anime. I've been watching more Steven Universe too with Kyle. We're almost caught up all the way. Cool. It's weird. We just watched the Mr. Greg episode,
which makes you super sad because then you got anything else to watch.
Yeah, and then I'm fucking done. But that'll be fine. Then I'll just start Fullmetal Alchemist.
Good call. What else? Actually, before I forget, I also watched the new Kingsman movie.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah. I like the first one more.
I like the first one more because it was a better film. Yeah. The second one was more fun.
Yeah.
But it was a worse film.
I feel like the second...
Does that make sense?
The second one, it just... It just rehashed stuff from the first one or whatever.
It did.
And it also... I mean, the first one built an amazing world I wanted to see more of.
Yes.
And this next one built a world that was almost too unrealistic.
Yeah, it did feel like they were just like, all right, so there's pretty much no rules right now.
Yeah, like that scene where, like the scene where it really hit me was the scene where like all the people who are like sick get put in cages and stuff and they zoom out. It's just like cages on top of cages. I'm like, that's so cartoony. Like that's ridiculous.
It felt super fake. Like not actual like medical.
Some of the CGI actually kind of looked pretty fucked
shit.
Up. Yeah. But I mean, for what it was fun. It's a fun spy romp, I guess.
It was a really fun time. But what I heard is they set this up just for the third movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the second movie, they're like, whatever, we got to establish a couple things. We got to make some stuff. The rest of it's fine. But then the third movie is where we're really going to get into it. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I'd be down. I mean, it's not like it deterred me from wanting to see a third one. I'd watch a third one. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I had a good time with the second one. But yeah, watch that. I've heard that the new Lego movie, Lego Ninjago, is not getting great ratings.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to see it.
I might be watching that.
But now I'm hesitant.
I might be watching that with Sierra this week. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, shit. Maybe you should hit brother up.
Oh, maybe like you hit me up for it? Yeah. In your face, asshole.
Well, hey, maybe you should ask me to.
Anyways, hey, how about we get into the news? Yeah,
I'm so down for that. Right, so this week, we got a big load of news. Let's start off with some sad shit. So, the director of Kimono Friends was suddenly released from working on the upcoming season for unknown reasons. Within 30 minutes of the information being released, 100,000 people retweeted the news in support of the director, Tatsuki. So this just kind of came out from nowhere. Kimono Friends is that 3D animated anime girl humanoid animal matchup, whatever it was. And nobody knows the reason, but people are speculating like one of the directors wanted to make it more cutesy, like family friendly, and the other one wanted to go more post-apocalyptic with it. Ooh. Because I don't know shit about it, but that's what I saw, and I was like, interesting. So we'll find out. But a lot of people are upset about this, and I think rightfully so. I mean,
if you like, especially if you like the director and like the way the first one went, and like depending on, if you stand by what he made. Yeah, I can imagine. I'd be upset if one of my directors that I like got pulled off the show or whatever.
I'd be a big bummer.
Yeah, even though the show's not for me, whatever's. Sucks, dog.
Kind of a bummer that they were in the process of making this, and then suddenly they're just like, and you're gone.
Cool. So, how would you bum me out some more, bro?
The manga artist Yuu, most recognized for Wolf Children, has passed away officially 2 days ago.
So fucking sad. I saw that. I commented on it on a post. It's super sad. Yeah. Moment of silence. All right, you will be missed.
Felt pretty bad reading that, honestly. Like, because I mean, it's.
Are you gonna cry? Don't you fucking cry?
No, I'm not gonna cry. She had complications. She had health complications for a while.
Yeah.
And she was getting better. And then she died for other reasons.
You see,
and they haven't released how she died. And it doesn't matter. But the fact that she was having all these problems and then died some other way is pretty fucked up.
Yeah. You know what this sucks about the fact about living is that he had to die.
Yeah. That is one of the worst parts of living.
That's one of the, what was it? It's a proven fact. Everybody that lives is going to die.
It's true.
It's a real bummer. And especially when people get sick and like when they get better, the sad thing about it is that they get better for a while and then they almost always get sick again, which is super sad.
Yeah.
It's a real shame to see someone as talented as this person go. I was actually at a project or whatever, we had an assignment that we're doing in our class, and we had to team up with another like partner, and we had to talk about like, hey, ask like. They were supposed to be like questions that get to know them, and some of them were like super basic, and some of them were super deep. Like I asked him, like, "Have you ever been in love?" Which is like
fine. That's a pretty intense question, right?
And then he answered yes. I was like, okay. And then the next follow up was like, did this person reciprocate the love?
Oh my god!
And then the guy was just like, no, dude. It was legit. It was like. No, she said she saw me as like a little brother, and then he just got really quiet, and I was just like, man. And I was like, I felt kind of bad for asking the question, but like I felt like I knew him more after asking him that, and so like I think I can make it, because the point is we're gonna draw them and then draw a piece around who they are. So I was like, I feel like I know who he is more.
Yeah, but also it's like, I mean, you could learn all the sad shit that's happened in my life, but that's not who I am.
Well,
and like if you bring up that sad shit, like upon meeting me, you're gonna have a different impression of me.
But I'm saying, like, it's not like I'm gonna like, not the piece is gonna represent him for life. This piece is gonna represent a piece of him, and it's like, if it's a sad piece, it's like great. That's gonna be better for art. If it's just like a bunch of fucking Tortoros, like who the fuck cares, you know?
Yeah, true.
Anyways, he asked me like, hey, what's your great like? Because I asked him what his greatest fear was.
Yeah.
And he was just I don't know. He's like spiders or something. I don't know. It was like something. He's like, he asked me what my greatest fear is. Like, I'm not really afraid of anything. Like, I'm not afraid of heights or animals or monsters.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm afraid of dying and then not being remembered, which is like when I think about it, is super sad, because like
fucking vain.
Isn't that? No. The thing is like it's more like the not accomplishing anything, like not being able to accomplish
not doing anything.
Yeah,
in your
not doing
life,
anything worthwhile with like where somebody, like, even if it's like one person's like, oh, I remember this one person, and they'll be like, after I'm dead, will be like, oh, Juan did this one thing, and he's fuck you. I asked him who his idol was, because that's also a good question, and he said, oh, himself.
Oh,
fuck that guy, right?
Yeah, that guy.
So me saying not being remembered, I feel like it's justified.
That's not
like, not even just like by famous, like by your family, like them, some like,
right, of course,
dying alone, essentially. No one. So that's what my fear was. Yeah. But yeah, like she for sure won't be forgotten, because like,
no,
like, I mean, that was one of like the greatest movies I've ever seen. And it was all inspired by this art, you know, so.
It's fantastic. I'm so happy that, you know, she was able to make this beautiful thing that so many people love.
Yeah.
And that tells this fantastic story. Like, she didn't write it, but she was the one that was conveying the story.
The art,
yeah, I think that that's like... I mean, you know, as an artist, it's an integral part of any storytelling. You have to have the visuals to follow up on it.
Well, you and I know that in manga and anime, the story is just as important as the art.
Absolutely,
you know,
100%.
Even if the art's shit, if it's shit for a reason, like one stuff, that's there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know, anime can be great with or without good stories or arts, but they're better when they're both great.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to top off that, if you have great voice acting and great music, like every part of it just makes it even better. Even though it has an amazing story and amazing animation, if it doesn't have that music and sound effect and everything to back it up, like if you watch something, you're not going to notice the sound design.
Yeah.
And that is perfect.
That's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah,
exactly.
You're supposed to be like, cool. I'm here. I'm hearing them walk. You shouldn't be like,
exactly.
Oh, I'm hearing them walk. Why am I hearing them walk? You know?
It should all just be natural, and I think that that's great because that's kind of like what I wanted to take on the role of as an editor.
Yeah,
I wanted to make it so everything's just like fucking feels the way it's supposed to feel, and you could convey different emotions through the editing and whatnot. Yeah, exactly. And you're just the person in the background. You're the person that doesn't matter because you're just doing all this shit to make everything like clean and stuff. But then with like sound design, it's just like, all right, make it sound like nothing is wrong.
Yeah, make
like,
it.
Oh, okay.
Make this sound like we weren't pretending to be on this on the stage or whatever.
That's so fascinating to me. I love sound and design and all that stuff. It's just so fascinating how simple that stuff is, but it's so complicated.
And it's like It's like everybody has their job to do, and if they're all doing a great job, they're gonna make a great product.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Anyhow,
next up,
a new anime has been announced titled Seven Senses of the Reunion, which is being described as a combination of Anohana and Sword Art Online.
Okay.
Now, do you know how fucking amped I was reading that? Because the idea of Sword Art Online, just like the actual Sword Art part of it.
Yeah.
Fucking yeah, good shit. And then Anohana being one of my favorite shows, like. That was exciting to me to read.
Can I guess what it's about?
Yes.
So it's going to be about a little girl who died, and there's going to be a video game, and she's trapped in it.
Fucking nailed it.
Oh, and the girl's also going to have like some really incestual vibes with her brother, not brother.
True.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about it, but essentially this group of friends, they're playing an MMO.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. You actually know what it's about.
Yes.
Great.
They're playing an MMO together. And then I don't know exactly. It was a little bit confusing, but something bad happens with the game and the game needs to shut down. And in that bad thing happening, one of their friends does die. So then
like Anohana.
Yeah. And in that, all the friends separate and they're not friends anymore. They go their separate ways after, however much time.
Death, yeah.
And then 6 years later, the MMO re-releases. It was called Union, and this one's called Reunion.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh,
so
sizzle.
So then the main character kid starts playing the game, and then he finds his friend, and he's super excited, but it's the friend that was dead.
He's a ghost. A ghost in the shell.
Yeah, essentially. So I think it's going to be like Anohana, where everyone gets together and like, oh, dead friend, and like whatever. Oh, we so different. We got to
figure out how to set you free. Yeah.
Anyways, I'm very excited because it sounds pretty dark and like sad, but also like beautiful and harmonious.
Yeah.
So
sounds like a good show to look out for.
Yeah, I really want to check it out. And looking at the character design I think they released 3 characters, the designs of them. It looks good. It doesn't look like super flashy, but it looks like they have these intricate outfits and whatnot.
Do you know what production's doing it?
No.
Okay.
But I will soon.
Cool.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this. I want to keep my eye out for it. And I'm sure that it's going to be a big piece of news considering that it's using Sword Art Online to describe what it is.
Which is like one of the animes that people, one of the most mainstream animes people will tell you to watch whenever you like anime, check this one out. That's like
pretty much
top of the list. That one's always there.
So this is probably going to be something that's popping up over and over, and we'll wind up talking about it again in a few months, and then it'll be our daily news or whatever.
Cool, yeah.
All right, next up, Crunchyroll is going to be streaming the Blade Runner short. So tomorrow.
We're gonna watch that.
It's Tuesday. It comes out.
It's Tuesday, yeah.
So by the time that this episode's out, you're gonna be able to watch that,
and we'll just review it next week.
Yeah,
cool.
Well, that's not gonna be our whole episode.
No.
Well, depending on the length,
we're gonna review it.
Depending on the length,
even if it's 2 minutes long.
If it's 2 minutes long, yeah. So that's pretty cool. Just kind of came out. It was like 2 weeks ago. They were like, "Hey, we're doing this."
Well, good for them.
Yeah, pretty cool. Next up, JC Staff is making One Punch Man season 2.
Finally.
Fucking weird though, right? Madhouse.
Sorry.
There's a big joke. Madhouse doesn't do sequels, even though they do. They haven't done sequels for a lot of like really big shows, and people are constantly like, "Yeah, sequel for this," and they just like don't make them. Other studios do.
Oh God.
And JC Staff has taken this over, which could be great. JC Staff's done some sick shit. Like pretty much, I'm just imagining Food Wars style of like animation where everything's like amped up and exciting and whatnot. So I think that they could definitely take on One Punch Man season 2.
Super hypersexualized. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, dude.
Wait, I didn't know that Madhouse didn't do sequels. That's interesting.
Well, they do,
but
it's a joke that people always say like, "Oh, Madhouse doesn't do sequels." So
that's weird. Yeah. You'd think that they'd want to hold on to something like One Punch Man.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised to find this out too. I was just like, "Whoa, JC Staff!" But it's a lot of the same writers and animators and stuff, but they've transferred over. So
I'm just glad we're gonna get that second season because it's like an amazing show.
Yeah,
and JC
same
Staff,
music too.
Yeah, JC Staff's great. So I have faith in them. Yeah,
we're gonna have a good time with this. Next up, Masaaki Yuasa's new film, Night is Short, Walk On Girl, has won an award at the International Ottawa Film Festival. Now, this is the guy who made Tatami Galaxy and some other shit that I can't remember what it is. But essentially, this is a mashup of that Tatami Galaxy and some other shit that I can't remember what it is.
Shut up, keep talking.
Essentially, no, I'm laughing because I can't remember fucking at all. But Tatami Galaxy, for anybody that doesn't know, is a pretty cerebral, outlandish styled anime where the animation is just fucking out of control. It's wild. It's so incredibly stylized, but it looks great and it's award winning and stuff. So anyways, this new film, it winning an award, I guess it's going to be releasing in more places because of that, which is super awesome. And long story short, that's the news.
Cool, man. I'm glad that's the news. I'm glad we can finally get to this week's topic. This week's topic, for those of you who don't know, is we're reviewing a little show called Neo Yokio.
This was something that kind of came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. A couple weeks ago, they were like, "Hey, this is happening," but actually, it was being created back in 2015.
Yeah,
and it was announced at Anime Expo. It was going to be a part of the Fox animation block that they do sometimes. I think it's like a weekly animation block. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Fox, but it changed from that to FXX, which is their other cable network instead of just the whatever regular ass network.
It's their edgy stuff or whatever.
Exactly. It's like a little bit more niche.
It's their Fargo stuff. It's their
Fargo. Yeah. It's Always Sunny, and that's all the shows that are on there probably.
Archer's on there.
Archer's on there. Yeah. So it was going to be a part of that, but something happened and it wound up not being picked up and finalized and all that. And then a long time went by and Netflix is like, "Yo, what up?" And they picked it up. So this is a project that was, it's created by Ezra Koenig of the band Vampire Weekend. And I am a big fan of Vampire Weekend.
Really?
Love it.
Like sarcastically?
No. Their last album, Modern Vampires of the City, was so fucking good. I listened to it for months, like pretty much exclusively that.
Cool
it was
for you,
fucking
Doug.
Great. So I was pretty excited to learn that he was the creator of this whole thing. And then it's being produced by Production IG, who made Pokemon Origins, Psychopaths, Kuroko's Basketball, and then Studio Dean as well, who made Konosuba, Ranma 1/2, and Fate Stay Night.
Okay.
So we've got, some heavy hitters working on this project. Not only that, there are so many famous voice actors in this. Mm-hmm. Starting off, the main character is Jaden Smith. His sister Willow Smith is in it as like a very small side character. Mm-hmm. Got Steve Buscemi, Jude Law, Susan Sarandon, Jason Schwartzman. There are more.
I think Tara Strong, who isn't like a famous person, but she's a famous voice actor in it.
Yeah.
Pretty sure she does the voice of that girl has a blue hair or whatever.
Country girl. Or the
one that wears the gown or whatever, the terrorist.
Right, yeah.
And then there's also, my two favorite voice actors were Jesus and Mero, which are his two best friends.
So fucking great.
They have great voices, and like to have them be animated around it, it's super fun. So yeah, I remember I told you about this. I don't know if you saw it, but I sent you this thing like, yo, dude, I was like, Jaden Smith, there's a new anime coming out on Netflix. It's called this. It's in this many days. Jaden Smith's the lead, and you're like, what? And you're like, yeah, man, we got to review it. And we did. Luckily, it's only 6 episodes. The episode's length varies from 20 minutes to 24 minutes. So it's actually
it's like regular TV.
Yeah, it's super easy to watch. I watched mine in the span of maybe 2-3 days.
Yeah, and I did it in one night, and it was totally fine.
Yeah.
And I was telling my roommate about this. I was like, yo, man, there's new anime that Netflix has, and it's not that long. It's the same deal that Castlevania was, pretty much. Explain it to him. And then I'm like, Ezra Koenig, Vampire Weekend, did this because he likes Vampire Weekend too. And Jaden Smith is the main voice actor. He's like, what the fuck am I hearing right now? Just getting more and more just what's happening?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah. So essentially, it's taking place in a place that's New York and Tokyo mashed up. And he's like, is it called Neo Tokyo or something? And I'm like, that's actually the name.
Yeah.
He's like, that's the fucking name. I just made that up. Right then and there. That's the name that they stuck with. And he was super upset about that.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
Cool. So yeah, no, well, I'm glad your boy enjoyed it.
Neo Yokio, man.
Yeah, so
we had a good ass time with it.
So cool. Let's quickly just talk about what the show's about. We're gonna spoil this
what
because
the fuck is the show about?
Because it's only 6 episodes long. If you really want to watch it, watch it. And if you don't want to watch it, just listen to us talk about it because we'll explain to you what it is and whatever.
I can tell you this much right off the bat. If this sounds interesting to you, watch it with a friend.
Yeah.
Do not watch it alone.
I watched it alone.
You watched it alone, but I'm going to say that most people probably want to watch this with a friend.
I think it's fine. If someone enjoys watching things alone, fuck watching it with a friend.
All right.
I'm going against Trip's will. Just do what Trip wants or do what I want. Either way, you're going to do whatever. We don't care. Point is, so the show is, it's about a boy who is a...
Is it about a boy?
It is about a boy. He's a boy.
He's an adult.
No, he's just graduated from high school. He's still a boy. He's
yeah, but somehow he's drinking and he's teaching a class and there's all this shit. It makes no fucking sense.
It's also this in the future. So we don't fucking know what a drinking age is.
Yeah, we don't. But
anyway, so it's about the main character is voiced by Jaden Smith, and he is he's kind of he's an exorcist. He exorcises demons, and he has magical powers. And he lives in this Neo Yokio, which is this hybrid, futuristic New York that's in some places flooded, and in other places really run down and almost post-apocalyptic looking.
Yeah, but most of the city's really fucking nice.
Well, the part that he's from, he's rich or whatever.
Yeah,
and he what was the word he's not an aristocrat, he's a magistocrat.
Yeah,
because whatever his culture, who he is, there's plenty of people like him who hunt demons, and you can tell who they are because they have pink hair, and they used to call them rat catchers or whatever. And now Neo Yokio has made a deal with them. They're allowed to be there and they get paid for their services or whatever as long as they protect the city from these demons. But some people still look down upon them, and that's kind of a reoccurring thing that we see. Anyways, these people, they exorcise demons, and you'd think that's kind of the show would be about seeing him go on missions, but it's not at all. It's kind of just him being a sulky little bitch because everything isn't the way it's supposed to be because he's super into who he is and what his status is, the way he looks, the way he dresses, the way he talks, what he does.
That's very important because there's a bachelor board in Neo Yokio, and he is Neo Yokio's second most eligible bachelor.
Yeah, which is pretty funny. Anyways, in this world, who you are and what your social standing is massive. In real life, it's kind of important who you are, depending on where you live.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Here in Chico, no one gives a fuck. But if you're from the Hamptons or whatever, it's they're from the so family,
Yeah, or if there's a country club, it's a social status thing to at least be a member. You don't even need to go there. As long as you're a member, you're fine.
So essentially, it's the same thing. But in this world, they take these being known as being wealthy or being rich to a whole nother level.
Yes.
And it's kind of funny because you'd see characters who, because of the way they look, you wouldn't think would care about some of these things. Like, he goes to this prep school, and, like, it's essentially the same setup. Like, they're really into, the rivalry between the other school, and they want to beat a game. Essentially, in most other things, it's either a game of football or a game of basketball. But in this one, it's a game of, like, field hockey.
Fucking field hockey.
It's like, and they take it so seriously. They're like, oh, we're gonna take you down on the court with our field hockey skills. It's like, are you serious?
They're serious.
So yeah, so that's the show. He's really so that's kind of the show. He's just a really into himself kind of dude who's actually really always down about stuff over like the littlest things, and he hates wanting to go to work.
Well, I mean, it starts out and he just broke up with his girlfriend. So he's all, woe is me, life is pointless, everything is just a futile waste of time.
Yeah.
And then it develops into like different things. That first one, it's like, you know what? Yeah, we've all broken up with somebody and had like a shitty ass fucking time. But then like there's just no point in like all of his emotions, because the next second he's like, oh, hello, like I'm the most eligible bachelor or whatever. Yeah, it's fucking.
Well, there's like a scene where he's bummed out, and then his aunt, what is his name, aunt Agatha, who is essentially like the handler of her family, like the
Susan
head of the family.
Sarandon.
The head of the family, who's in charge of like sending all of her demon hunters out to make money for the family. It would be like, hey, we have a meeting. He's like, I can't, Aunt Agatha, I can't do it. Like, I'm too bummed out. And he goes like, we're having, black ink squid, fucking spaghetti. And he's just like, I'll be right there. Like, it's
so like, fucking dumb.
He's so superficial. Like,
yeah, they're all like really shallow.
Super superficial, super shallow. And there's one character who kind of phases after being possessed, and then the demon being removed, she realizes how pointless it all is, and she's just like, this is all stupid. And essentially she becomes a terrorist, and she's a terrorist because, like, one, she won't dress like the way she's supposed to, and then I guess she does blow up the bachelor board, which doesn't hurt anybody.
Well, that's when she became a
real terrorist, against the Neo Yokio, like the city of Neo Yokio, because essentially this Kaz is his name, right? It's my character's name.
Yeah, Kaz Khan.
Kaz Khan, his family is essentially indebted to like the city. Like they're sworn to protect the city or whatever.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: how I felt about the show was, I'm not exactly sure, because there are things that
oh man, it was confusing.
Because there's things that I don't like about it, and there's things where I see the merit in it, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, a lot of the world building around it, I kind of enjoyed. Like, there's an episode where they go underwater because half the city is sunk, but they still live down there. And there's a scene where they're doing this racing, and they're going through a really shitty part of town. I'm assuming it's like it's like some borough in New York. Yeah. And there's just people just piled up throwing rocks and be like, we're going to kill you. We're dying over here. It's like, that's so fucking dark,
Yeah.
And like the bachelor board's a thing, it's like, there's this world that's super. Oh, by the way, he has a robot mech. Like, he's a mech.
Yeah, he has a butler.
He's a butler, and that's also interesting to me. Like, that's kind of so the world around it. There's things I like about it, but I kind of really dislike the main character as like a person. Like,
he's supposed to. Yeah, I mean, the whole show is satire and a spoof.
Yeah,
it's a huge satire on just that kind of culture where people put so much importance on all of those big things, like luxury type things.
Like, he freaks out once because he says to go to it was like all black like tie event or whatever.
Yeah, it was a black white party. Yeah,
and his suit was the darkest shade of midnight blue.
Yeah,
and he lost his shit. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah,
like,
no, that's just they try to be really comical with it,
and that's funny. Like, I enjoyed that. That was a funny joke.
Yeah, I think the funny thing was everybody noticing it.
Yeah, except for him. Yeah.
But I don't know. There were parts that I was like, this is like kind of funny and I'm kind of enjoying it. But then there's another part where I'm like, I'm also really just enjoying how bad it is.
Yeah.
That was a huge part of this. Because like, I enjoy bad media. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I've talked about it. Like, I love The Room. I've fucking watched so many just like shit shows and all these really bad campy ass things. I like really shitty horror movies, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was watching it and I'm like, it could be good.
Yeah.
The animation's weird and like not that great, and the fucking I don't know, the jokes don't land in the way that they're supposed to,
but they
and
kind of
the
still
actual
make you laugh,
plot,
right?
yeah, they still do, but like
because they're bad and they're dumb.
You're laughing because they're bad, and like you see what they were going for.
Yeah,
but you're
I
just like, what the fuck kind of a joke is
I
this?
understand why that was supposed to be funny, but I'm not laughing because of that. I'm laughing because you guys failed it.
And the whole time I'm watching this show, I'm just like, who the fuck is this for?
DJ.
Yeah, and that's all that I could think. Like, watching it with Josh and Leandra, all of us were like, this is for DJ.
Nice. We should do this thing for more often. Like, whenever we have a show where it's like, we say, oh, it's not for us, but then we should also be like, is it for DJ?
Is it for DJ? That's what we always have to wonder.
This one for sure is for DJ.
Yeah, like, the second that I started watching it, I was like, I get it. This is DJ's favorite show. Yeah. Like, this just makes sense.
These are DJ's dreams.
And, we started it, and the show starts out as like, demons exercising all this. Also really important, like, everyone has to look great, and there's the bachelor board and all this, and it's jokes and haha funny. And then my roommate's just like, this show's gonna end with like a race all over town. Oh, I just fucking feel it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he just said that. He was like, this show's so fucking dumb. It's just gonna be like totally
like
pointless.
A wacky
There's a big old race, and it decides who's the best bachelor or whatever. And he pretty much called it, because that's how the show ends. There's like a 2-episode race type plot.
What's funny is that you told me dude, Josh called how the show was gonna end. I was like, oh really? And then I was watching the last episode. I was like, I wonder how, like, in my head I was like, I wonder how Josh called it. And and then I was just kind of sitting there because the race came up. Like, it started like, and they're like talking about like, blah blah the race. And I was like, huh. And in my head I was like, I wonder how the show ends. So I was like, does he die? Huh, that's kind of weird. And I was like, no. And I was like, I bet it ends with it kind of just being at the very beginning, where like he's gonna be back at the top of the roof and be like, it's just like nothing has changed. So much shit has happened, but he has not changed. He hasn't had any growth.
Right.
And that's it. That's how it really ends.
That's how it ends.
But he is right. There is a giant race at the very end. It's totally fucking stupid. It's totally the Neo Yokio Grand Prix or whatever. Yeah. And then, like, what's funny is, like, they're actually having people interview, like, the racers, and they're like, yeah, so-and-so, like, what do you have to say to people who think that's, absurd to have a race here in Neo Yokio when it's super dangerous, and, like, it's not probably the most cost-effective thing. There's people dying out there, and they're just like, we're here to race, and racers race. So it's like, I guess that's the joke. I guess that's the
joke.
Yeah, but like I said, like, I didn't hate this show.
No,
it's just I didn't like love it.
I had a lot of fun with it. I'm happy that I watched it with the people that I did watch it with. But overall, like I said, I wouldn't recommend this to anybody, because I don't know who to recommend it to. It is so DJ. Bizarre. Yeah. DJ loves bizarre, esoteric bullshit, and this is exactly that. It is so goddamn esoteric. Yeah. Like, that's the show that encapsulates that word.
Oh yeah, no, that is absolutely it. And I was saying, I don't know if I'd recommend it to anybody either, but if people ask me about it, it's kind of hard to describe, so I'm just gonna be like, look, man,
I want to urge people to watch it.
Yeah, the best thing I can say is give it an episode and then make your own opinion, because
I disagree with a full episode. I think that you only need to watch like 6 minutes and then you understand the whole show.
I don't know. I like the way that whole full episode, that first episode ended with, like, him finally doing the demon thing, and I was like, cool. Yeah. Like,
man, the fucking first episode too, like, there's this whole bullshit where it's all taking place underwater. Yeah. And they were doing the exorcism and whatnot. And then it's flooding in her room.
Yeah, yeah.
And then my room is just like, why isn't she like being covered with water? Why isn't the water going up? Like, why is it just that? And then I'm like, because the show's bullshit, man. And then it starts rising. He's like, oh, there it goes.
It's like suddenly. Yeah, yeah.
And then he's just like, why isn't she floating? I'm like, humans don't float, man. Like, clearly humans. I'm like, why the fuck isn't she floating?
Why are you asking these dumb questions? Yeah.
And then they get saved. They open the door and they all like fall down the stairs and stuff. And then
why are they worried about the house flooding?
Yeah, and then it's just like, why did the water stop?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What the fuck is happening?
Well, that's the thing. You
gotta like, so fucking. They had all these things set up to where I feel like the thing that makes shows that are satirical and really in your face about that, the important thing is that they treat themselves seriously.
Yeah.
It has to be like a consistent world with very consistent rules that are broken sometimes in a comical effect.
Right.
It stopping flooding wasn't funny.
Yeah.
It was just like a lack of detail. But the whole like situation where he's like saving his ex-girlfriend and he's like, hey, or not ex-girlfriend,
some chick he hooked up to.
Yeah, he's like, hey, remember that we hooked up? That's like the first thing he says to her when she's possessed.
The first thing he says to her, and then when she comes to, she's just like, oh, hey, Kazkan, last time I saw you we were hooking up at that so-and-so's party.
And like those are the jokes that they're making. They're not trying to make a joke as in like, inconsistencies. I don't know. I just feel like it needed to take itself more seriously than it did in order for me to enjoy it more. Overall, there were just a lot of flaws throughout the whole show, and I don't think we need to get into all of them.
Yeah, no.
But they did some really fantastic stuff. The episode that we were talking about earlier, I don't know how you felt about it, but it was my favorite.
I don't think it was my favorite, but I really enjoyed it.
The whole plot is they go and they're like visiting his cousin's house.
What happened is his uncle died or whatever, and they didn't have a body. But
exactly.
Aunt Agatha sent him to the house because the house is under their name. The family, it's a family estate. He goes like, go to the Hamptons and go see what the house is like.
Yeah, like figure this shit out. And so they're visiting the house. Yeah,
so to him and his two buddies, who are my favorite characters in the show.
Absolutely.
Jesus and Mero, who have amazing voices, super fun. They're also like they're there for comic relief, but they're also really smart. Like they're not incompetent sidekicks. They're just like, why don't you just do this? And they're like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, they're successful businessmen as well. Yeah, it's fucking great.
So they go with Kaz to the Hamptons because they want to throw a party, and they meet one of your favorite characters.
Yeah, I thought he was fucking hilarious. Essentially, he's the redneck as fuck character of the show. Yeah, it reminded me. I think the thing that I liked so much about this episode is it reminded me of Boondocks.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminded me of like the rich white guy who wants to be a thug in Boondocks. Who his dad is like the owner of like the banks or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and this is one thing. Like I was. One of the biggest problems with the show for me was the way it looks. I hate the way it looks. Like,
looks pretty shit.
And I get that they did it on purpose. They're like, let's go for this kind of shit look because we want to be like, this is the way we want to look. It kind of has like some old throwbacks to like what old anime is, and even worse than that, it almost looks like this is like how to draw manga art style, right?
It honestly does.
And the thing is, they could have done better anime. Like the people behind this,
Studio Dean, Production IG. Holy fuck.
They can, but I'm positive that the fucking shithead director or whatever is just like, no, I'm going to do it like this. This is the style I want.
He had a very clear vision.
He could have made it look amazing like the Boondocks, and I would have loved this show a lot more because that's some clean animation with some, anyways. So we're getting to that part, and like we do meet that redneck cousin or whatever, and like I was like, this does give me those Boondock that Boondock feels to it, and so the story continues, and apparently the cousin also has pink hair, and he's also one of these demon hunters, and he has powers, but his powers are kind of shit, and he can only control like water and stuff. Yeah. So he puts a magical thing on the pool, and his friends jump in the pool, and one turns into a panda. And the other one turns into a hot chick.
Yeah, and this is Kaz's friends jumping into the pool, And
this is like a spoof on Ramna 1/2, right? Yeah. Which instantly, as soon as they jumped in, I was like, oh, I know exactly what they're doing. They came out as like a panda and a hot chick. I was like, this is fucking great. Yeah. And then they went to a party, and then Kaz pretended that Lexi, that's the one that turned into a girl, was his new girlfriend because was it his ex-girlfriend was there?
Yeah, his ex that had broken up with him before the show started was there, and that was the one that he was all depressed about and whatnot.
And he wanted to show her up. The thing that really fucked me up about that episode is that he's just like, he convinces, first of all, his good friend, to go to a party with him and pretend that he is his girlfriend.
Yeah, just so you know, I would do that for you.
Okay, well, I'm not doing that for you.
Okay, well, you're an asshole. That's fine.
Like, the thing is, he not only does he convince him to do that, because he's like, come on, man, don't you want to miss the hottest party in the Hamptons? It's like, oh, you're right, I'll go for my own. But then he makes him go shopping, find like a nice-ass dress up super hot, and then he expects the guy to play along, Lexi to play along, and when Lexi starts hitting this like hot, like lesbian chick, starts hooking up with her, he's like, Kaz's like, what are you doing? You're here for me. He's like,
yo, I support that shit 100%. Lexi,
there's a point where Lexi's just like, he's getting mad because Kaz is telling him what to do, and then Lexi makes this great point, like, you know what? You're being kind of sexist and misogynistic right now, telling me what to do and who to talk to and what I have to wear or whatever. And he's like, come on. And then Kaz's like, just kiss me right now. And then No, he drops a kiss on him. He goes like, you can't just force a kiss on me, even though we're friends. Like, you can't just do that, even though I'm a woman, but not a, like, you don't do that. And then
he gets in this whole thing. He's like, I don't identify as a woman. Like, I identify as a man, no matter what body I have. And he goes in this whole thing. He's like, it's not homophobic, dude. Like, it's all this shit.
He's like, sex. He's like, sex isn't like binary. It's on a spectrum or whatever. You know, it's just really, it's a pretty funny monologue. And then it leads with Lexi throwing Kaz in the pool, and I was just like, yeah, fuck yeah, what an asshole. And the next day, it's like nothing happened. It makes me so mad because Lexi is an actual character, like a real person, like you know,
a human. Yeah.
And then Kaz is just like this non-existing person, because then a real person would be like, hey man, I'm sorry about, as weird as this would be if this was you and I, and I took advantage. The next day I'd be like, hey Trip, I'm sorry I kissed you.
Some pretty fucked up shit.
I'm saying like, I'm sorry I kissed you. Like, it was a mistake. I'm just super jealous about my ex-girlfriend, and you would probably understand.
Like, yeah, man. I mean, it was fucked up. Just don't let it happen.
But again,
we're cool. We're cool.
And you're like, next time I turn into a girl, don't let it happen again.
Yeah, like, I mean, I plan on turning into a girl whenever that accidentally happens to me, and I don't want that to happen.
I'm just saying, like,
have a little kissy boy.
I would really thought the show would have benefited from having Kaz learn something and have some growth. But he doesn't. And that's what's really upsetting. It looks like shit. The characters don't grow. A lot of the voice actors are really bad. Like, not the famous people. Like, the girl voice actors. Yeah. Total shit. Except for Tara Strong. I liked her.
I don't know. It was a little bit like...
It was really on the nose. Like, it was really like, she's this really, fucking... she's essentially what Jaden Smith was. Is kind of like this person that's wise beyond their years, even though they kind of don't know anything.
The problem that I had with it, she's a fine voice actor, but not for that body, if that makes sense. If they changed her look, kept all the same like components of her, that would have been fine. But just change her look a little bit, because I don't believe that a person that looks like that can have that kind of a voice where she's so just like droney and just like matter of fact about it. It didn't work for me. And same with I can't remember her name. It was like a drink or something. There's a country singer.
Oh god,
it's like a spoof really on Miley Cyrus or Taylor Swift or something like that. Anyways, I hated her as a voice actor.
She was the worst. Yeah. And the Russian chick was garbage too.
I was so disappointed because it's weird that they had such good voice actors, but the female voice actors really lacked. Like, Agatha was great because it was Susan Sarandon, and like she fucking fit the character and delivered on all fronts. Pretty much all the dudes were fine. Like, I like Jason Schwartzman as what was his name? The other fancy boy, like Archangel man.
Archangelo, because he's
Archangelo.
He's his rival.
Yeah,
he was great. Yeah,
I thought that he was fantastic.
Even Jaden Smith for delivering his.
Yeah, he did a great job.
He did a great job of delivering really shitty lines that he was given, and good for him.
I was just so bummed that pretty much all of the female characters except for Agatha didn't do it for me. I was just like, you know what? Nah.
Who was really bad too? So apparently inside Charles, which is the name of his mech butler.
That was a joke, and I got that, but it was still obnoxious.
I get that joke. No, I understand the joke. It's it's a spoof on fucking how, of course, fucking these mechs have to be made by somebody that's shout out to Neon Genesis Evangelion or any fucking Gundam. I just hated the voice that she had. Was like, why would she sound like this? Like, that's
that was the joke.
Yeah, it's just disgusting. I hated that. Yeah,
but I felt like we've already had voices that don't quite fit the characters. Why are we doing it again?
I felt like hers.
But this one's obvious.
Hers was the worst.
And that was on purpose because it was just a dude who was talking with like a super Cockney accent.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah, so, didn't do it for me. But
I think this is some highlights of like favorite funny moments, whatever. I think one of them was that moment where after the Bachelor board gets destroyed in like episode 5 or whatever, Archangelo meets up with Kaz, and he's just like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" And like the whole episode, the whole show series or whatever, he's being a total dick to me. He goes like, "Why are you being nice to me? Like, this champagne's probably poison." He's like, "This is like, I'm not poisoning you, dog." I was like, we're friends now. Like, he goes like, there's no more, West Side or East Side boys or whatever. There's no competition. You and I can be friends now. Let's be friends or whatever. And so like, that's a funny bit that continues. In the very end, he's just like, Kaz is like, hey, Archangelo's like, I need you to make sure nobody hits my car. And he goes like, I'll do it if you say we're homies. And he's just like, okay. He's like, no, I need to hear you say it. So I thought that was great.
I thought that was really funny too. He like sacrifices himself.
And he's like, and then he lands in the water. He's like, oh, I love it when my hair is all wet in public. Like,
so
Archangelo's character was great.
He's hilarious.
I liked him a lot. Great.
I feel like he was the funniest part about that whole aristocratic, high fashion type of lifestyle, all that shit.
Yeah.
They did a great job with him. I felt like Kaz wasn't that funny
or
in that
likable
setting.
at all. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I get that they were trying to make it so the main character isn't that likable as like a fucking farce of anime and all shit where the main character has to be likable in some way, but they're whiny sometimes, so you're like, get over it and you'll be the best character.
Bitching, just train and you'll be fine.
Which they're trying to make a joke in that he never gets better and he never learns,
which
and
is
I understand
upsetting.
that. They just had so many things that they were trying to make fun of, and it was not entirely obvious, which I think is important for any kind of parody or spoof. You have to be smarter about it. You have to actually think about like what's going on, but it didn't, like I said before, it didn't deliver on so many fronts that the things that it should have delivered on were so far lessened. Like, Boondocks is a huge fucking spoof of all different kinds of life. And, and it's a ode to anime in a way, as well as it's making fun of anime. Like, there are so many different things that spoof anime in a loving way, and I feel like this tried to do it, but like didn't succeed. Too many points.
Okay, so absolutely, I totally agree. That bit was great. I also like the bit where he's teasing Kaz about his midnight blue jack, and then he goes
all
to
of his like boy lackey dudes are with him,
and then he goes to the actual the black tie event. He's wearing midnight blue. He's like, oh, that's so fashion forward, and it's just like I was like, wow, it's so underhanded. That was great. Also, like the bit where he's just like the bit where he's this is one good moment for Cats. He's at the park and his ex-girlfriend walks by and she's just like, oh yeah, I'm here for the Neo Yokio Grand Prix. My boyfriend's racing. He's like, I have to go. And then he's just like, he's like, Kaz, don't be dramatic. He's like, don't flatter yourself. I have to go to my uncle's funeral. And he literally goes
to his uncle's funeral. Fucking great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
They have some like really funny bits and whatnot, but so many annoying things. And I just had such a fun time with so many parts of it, but a really bad time. I don't know. It's hard because there were a lot of things that I enjoyed. One of my favorite things about the show is that, that they're characters and they think they're hot shit. Like they're the best people that have ever lived. And they're so thoughtful and they just say like these, I don't know, like deep thoughts that a teenager would have. Essentially anything that Jaden Smith
would actually say.
But then they follow it up with just like, that shit's whack. Yeah, just like at the end of it, just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just cracked me up how sometimes they would just break that, like a whole line of actual dialogue and say some like real ass conversation type shit.
Yeah.
But my favorite part of it was when his cousin was describing like how he had cursed the pond or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the uncle. I don't know. Because the uncle didn't wind up being dead. He wound up being a raccoon that was transformed or whatever that was living in the house. Yeah. So everyone assumed he was dead and whatnot. Anyways, they're explaining how they made this pool magic. And then he's just like, yeah, a bunch of my bros, they all jumped in it and they got out, turned into butterflies. And I had to go catch those bitch asses. And he's like running around with the fucking
butterfly catcher.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, no, this is
bitch ass butterflies.
Yeah, that was a great bit. So yeah, all in all, it's a show that you either have to make an opinion for yourself.
Yeah.
I enjoyed parts of it. Didn't enjoy it at all. I know this is definitely for somebody. It's definitely for DJ. But I don't know if for anybody else in particular that I know, like, and I personally know.
Right.
If there was a second season, maybe I'd watch it. Maybe,
I don't know.
Because it's easy to watch. It's only 6 episodes.
It was, yeah. If they made it like a full on like 12 episode season, I probably would skip that.
Gonna do that.
I don't know what I watched, but I had a good time watching it.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to describe this to people. I'm just like, it's kind of making fun of itself, but in like the weirdest
in a
ways.
Bad way, yeah.
So if you were considering checking it out, fucking check it out, dude. Like, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
It is a weird time, and at least you get to say you watched one of the strangest shows you'll ever see.
Yeah, who would you can tell somebody I watched an anime with the lead character being Jaden Smith. Like,
yeah, and like, I think that's fucking...
That's shit you make up. Like, that's like
exactly.
That's a lie you tell your friends.
You're like, excuse me? And you're like, yeah, dude, it was fucking weird.
It was a weird weekend.
And the strangest thing about all of it to me is that there are legit as fuck animation studios from Japan that are like, yeah, dude, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's not just like I don't know, whoever the fuck does American animation studio type stuff. I think it's just actual studios that have animation departments. It's not ever like an animation studio. I don't know. Anyways, I thought it was the weirdest combination of people and things, and it didn't deliver on some fronts, but it did on others, and it was a weird time. I felt like overall it was a very Wes Anderson type show, if that makes sense. Like he always makes a mockery of these fancy lifestyles.
Yeah.
But it didn't know how to make those jokes well. I had a good time.
Yeah, well, hey, me too. And that's the actual episode. We're done. We are done for the week. I'm so glad I can go to sleep.
Bye-bye.
Hey, we'd like to do a few things first, though.
Oh, shit.
Do we have a topic for next week?
Yeah, we do.
What are we doing?
Either homework or outros, or depending on how long Blade Runner is, we got options.
Cool, we'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know. Anyway.
I would say probably outros, so the next week we could do our summary of the season.
Cool. Yeah, maybe we'll figure it out. Anyways, if you like our logo, hit up Aaron from TurkeyTops.com. Super sweet person, great person to work with, super easy to work with.
True.
If you like our theme song, hit up Tom Nasser on SoundCloud and on YouTube and on Facebook. It's Nasser, NASR.
True.
Where can we find us?
You can find us on Facebook. Look up the Instant Ramen Podcast. Same goes for Instagram. Look up the Instant Ramen Podcast. And if you want to send us a tweet at Instant Ramen Pod.
Podcast didn't fit.
And go ahead, shoot us an email, tell us some stuff, give us some suggestions, say like, hey girl, hey. You could shoot it over to instagrampodcast@gmail.com. And sometimes I do things on the internet, and you could watch it at twitch.tv/Crispother, KRISPOTHER. Anything that we just said is going to be down in the description below.
Yeah, so that's the gist of it. Thanks for listening. We will definitely give you a sweet review on how Tuesday was. Well, after Tuesday.
Juicy Tuesday.
So this is bye from Juan.
I'll see you around from Chris.
Hey, Trip, don't forget.
Just add hot water. Fucking weird show, though, right?
Yeah, all right. I mean, whatever.
That was good. Yeah, that was a big clap.